Hello everyone, my name is Jensen Fernandez and I will be presenting the IDH 102 midterm presentation. So to begin with, my first semester at the Honors College, we had the IDH 101 course that we all took, and the way that that class was divided was that we divided it into 4 components. So we had the learning skills, the coping and life skills, the understanding connections between community service and academic experience, and we had developing the portfolio of academic and personal achievements. One of the first things that I learned in this class was recognizing and developing my study skills. Like we always have known, like maybe that we work better during the day or we work better during the night, but in this class and lesson from our class facilitators, we learned specifically what kind of studying habits would benefit us. If it's visuals, if it's color coding, if it's hearing, if it's asking questions, if it's interactive, things like that. And it really got me thinking that I always thought that I was a bit more of a audible learner, but then with that class I learned that I was a bit more visual than I would like to admit, and I really do need to see the lessons face to face in order for me to understand it and comprehend it fully. This class also got me very comfortable with oral presentations. I'm a very anxious and kind of nervous person, so when this class made us, because it was in person, when we had to present in person and be ask questions to our peers and be open to their answers, it was a bit nerve-wracking, but it definitely got me more confident in my skills and my knowledge. And during this time, it also got me very confident with confrontation, not necessarily in a negative way, but if there's a problem or if I'm struggling with something, I wasn't afraid to ask my teachers or afraid to ask, my coworkers or boss, the lessons that I learned about confrontation and the styles and the type of solution problems. It translated to different aspects of my life. It translated into my workspace, into my academic, even my home life. I was aware of the kind of things that I had to do, styles of solution. And we also learned about community service and portfolio. So here I understood what I wanted to help my community with and how. And I also learned a bit more professional etiquette, like how to write proper emails, how to develop a portfolio, the reasons why, what I should wear to an interview, things like that I learned during this part of my IDH 101. I also learned in IDH 102, one of the first things that I learned was understanding types of services and how to register with ISID. So, I always just thought volunteering is volunteering, that's it, that's how it goes. However, with this lesson, volunteering wasn't just a chore. The way that they really described it and the way that you're supposed to feel with volunteering is that it's coming out out of the kindness of your heart, and it's something you truly want to do, and it doesn't even seem like work to you. And there's different kinds of services, so it's more interactive, or you could do more research-based, or you could do more advocation, and I realized that I like research and interactive, so luckily I can do that with my organization that I picked, which is Fab Lab. I can do research and I can interact with the kids that I'm helping with the lessons that I'm doing in Fab Lab, so this definitely kind of opened my eyes to where I would be most beneficial in my ISID program. The second one was leadership through honorable behavior. So here we learned how gratitude truly makes for better leadership and what it means to be honorable and how that means to be, true to yourself and to, kind of reflect your best parts and your morals and stay true to your morals. When your conscience is telling you something right from wrong, you go with the right. You don't purposely do the wrong, even though you feel to be honorable is to be true to yourself like that. And I think I benefited this, especially this one and the upcoming ones, the upcoming lessons. I benefited a lot from the packbacks and from the class discussions, but especially the packbacks, because I feel the packbacks, you have time to think about your response. And although you are communicating with your peers, it's not in such direct face-to-face manner, which can kind of seem intimidating to some people. I know it does seem to me to, be open and vulnerable with my peers like that. So packback kind of allows you, it gives you a medium to share your opinions and well thought out, and, you're not necessarily met with that kind of intimidation that face-to-face will kind of do to you. And with this lesson, I also learned that our academic and work habits truly determine our character. The fact that we procrastinate, or if we're lazy, or if, we're scared of a certain task, it determines who we are as a person. And I think it it really made me reflect about some of the habits that I have. And I think this is one of my favorite ones, self-compassion and acceptance. I'm kind of like an emotional, sappy person, so it was fun to talk about this with people and with my professor. And in this lesson, we learned what it means to be compassionate with yourself and to just, like, accept yourself and, for all the parts of you are, for the odd parts, the ugly parts, the angry, like all the sides that you have, to just truly accept that with all your power. And in class, we kind of discussed the challenges of accepting who you are and that it's not as easy as people make it seem to be, and that you have to be mindful of your emotions and of your actions, and you have to be aware that sometimes the environment that you're exposed to is going to, hinder your progress in acceptance and self-acceptance and self-compassion. So we talked about how social media often has like a negative effect on our compassion, our acceptance, and it kind of makes us think a bit like the traits that we have can seem as weird or odd. So we talked about that, and we also talked about that mindfulness and positive affirmations, like saying that to yourself, really helps, you with self-compassion acceptance. We also learned that being congruent, which is basically, again, it's recognizing your core values and how to live by them. We talked about, again, the struggles of being true to yourself and external factors such as social media, like family, friends, and congruence is essential in relationships, because if you are not yourself in these relationships, you're tricking not only you, but the person that you are building this connection with into thinking that they are friends or relation or they're partners with a person that they made up in their mind that's not truly them. So in the end, it just, harms you and the person. Also, another one is that the most recent one that we learned is being authentic and how to develop authenticity and why it matters. Personally, I think developing authenticity, you kind of have to look into your inner child, meaning you have to see like what you used to like and what you like your interests used to be, and why they may no longer be there, why you feel ashamed. But basically, like, staying true to yourself is one of like the greatest like challenges yet gifts that life can give you. And we talked about how important it is in every aspect of your life. And one of the next steps in academic-wise is that I'm signed up for summer classes and research opportunities and internships. So this year I really focused on that and like the transfer school list that I want. And for services, I want to increase how much time I'm working at my ISED program and potentially get an internship with them. I also want to explore different kinds of volunteering, like helping out in Camila's Health, which is where my mom works. And for career, since my major is physics and I want to be an astrophysicist, I'm going to look into more research opportunities for the summer with FIU and kind of network with the math teachers that are at NBC and just reach out to see how I can help or how I can research, or how I can like expand my knowledge in my field. So those are my next steps. And thank you for listening and watching.